Carmen, I want to throw this over to you because you are doing some deep dive research on a particular player that is going to be highlighted over the weekend at Hallis Hall, and kind of just want to give you the platform here to share who that is.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nick. I really appreciate that. And Ian Wheeler is an interesting guy.
You found it?
No,
I know you did the research, though. It's somewhere.
Like Nick had separate notes than I have on Ian Wheeler. I can't find those right now, but I have my own personal notes.
Oh,
well, first of all, great job by the Bare Bones podcast. Shout out Mason West, who's a longtime guy in this space. Used to podcast with Nick, great friend of Greg's. So he did an excellent job. And
you're an idiot.
So I was just watching, and this is available elsewhere too. But I wanted to shout out Mason for his niche that he's created. This dude studied psychology, behavioral disorders. If the Bears go and get Ian Wheeler, I know that being a good football player is not about intelligence necessarily.
We need him on this show badly.
But this guy, this
behavioral disorders.
I'm telling you, listening to him talk, he went to Howard University. This guy would instantly be in the top 3% of everybody at Hallis Hall. I'm pretty certain. This guy, he is a high functioning brain human being. And he's also a running back who does special teams, who can handle kickoffs, who loves to block. So this is a versatile dude that maybe perhaps can create enough of a niche for himself that he can get himself on the practice squad. When he was asked who his favorite running back is of all time, he said Adrian Peterson because he's never the nail and he's always the hammer, which, that's not exactly and he loves his attitude. I'm assuming he's also interested in Adrian because he's a psychology major and the stuff off the field with the behavioral disorders maybe, was something that he paid attention to. But on the field, the dude, nobody can take that away from him. But he can run, he can block, he can catch. He said he's working on his routes, punts, kickoffs. And one of the comments that he had on the pod there was that whatever he asked me to do, I'm going to do it. Loved his attitude, loved his intelligence, loved his versatility. Ian Wheeler, a guy I'll be paying attention to this weekend.
Yeah, he was 6th in all-purpose yards, 11th in rushing there. So Ian Wheeler has a very specific skill set, but it might just be enough to make this roster because of the new rule changes in the NFL. So he'll be a guy that we're watching. Another guy that I'm watching just based on the position is Jaquarius Spivey, tight end out of Mississippi State. He's a 6'5", 240-pound guy. He wasn't very productive in college. Appeared in 52 career games with 8 starts. 27 of those games was at Mississippi State. He also had a brief stint at TCU, but that year in 2022 was his career year. And again, not mind-boggling numbers, 11 receptions, 136 yards, and a touchdown. But the Bears, with Shane Waldron, like to utilize the tight ends. That third tight end spot, Steven Carlson, it's not a guy that's going to, be a lock. If there's somebody out of these undrafted rookies that can maybe make a splash, I'm just highlighting Jaquarius Spivey here. That.
Can we go back to the name?
Yes.
So the way I'm looking at it, is it Jorquarius?
Mm-hmm.
Jorquarius Spivey.
Yes, I was saying Spivey. Jaquarius Spivey.
I don't think it's Jaquarius, though. I think it's Jorquarius.
They have the little pronunciation thing on the website.
Is it
Jaquarius.
And then why is there that extra R in there?
That's a great question.
Silent R,
I love this name, though. It's like my favorite name. So we're not saying Jor. So Jaquarius Spivey.
You got to ask the Spivey parents of the pronunciation. But
I'll talk to Spivey this weekend and find out.
There you go. That's one. Okay, that's another person to highlight. Then the last one, Keith Randolph Jr., defensive tackle.
I think a lot of Bears fans are very hopeful for him, obviously being a familiar name from Illinois.
6'5", 300 pounds, 49 total tackles last season, 1.5 sacks, team captain, and he was top 5 in the nation in tackles per game among defensive tackles with 4.9. So it's a guy that was, making tackles, productive for that Illinois defense, and obviously he had a top NFL talent next to him, making some tackles there as well. So Keith Randolph's another guy. And again, a position that maybe the Bears can add a little bit more depth on when you're looking at the interior defensive line. So Keith Randolph Jr.
Guy that I'm most curious about, or not maybe most. Keith Randolph I'm most hopeful for. But Austin Reed, the quarterback out of Western Kentucky, he was a Saluki at one point too. I just like the idea because I've heard people speak very highly of Austin Reed and last year where they struck lightning in a battle with Tyson Bagent. And I just love the idea that what Ryan Pace promised us and then failed to do, which was draft a quarterback every year and continue to fill that room out. They draft Caleb Williams, who is arguably the best prospect the Bears have ever drafted at the quarterback position or maybe any position for them, number 1 overall. And they still double it down and get a UDFA in Austin Reed, hoping to strike lightning in a bottle 2 years in a row like they did with Tyson Bagent. So filling that room out, there's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. And the team, up in Wisconsin has been doing that for how many years and how many different quarterbacks rolled over even in the Brett Favre era. There was at one point there was 3 future starting quarterbacks in that quarterback room with Brett Favre. So there's nothing wrong with just continuing to try to find that. And the 49ers, with Brock Purdy, they had 3 different quarterbacks options with Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo.
The Packers took another quarterback this year.
Right.
They ended up with Michael Pratt from Tulane, who was actually an intriguing
guy.
Because who was that former executive for the Packers, or maybe current former, and he said one of their rules is to draft quarterbacks before you need one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Rule that makes a lot of sense.
Well, I think that goes back to Ron Wolf, I want to say.
Maybe that's who said it. But still,
that was like
good practice.
Yeah.
And like Austin Reed, he's played a lot of football. Just like Tyson Bagent did at Shepherd. Like, it's a guy that has a bunch of reps under his belt. So, he's also good friends with Caleb Williams. So there's a connection already there, right, when he gets into rookie minicamp. But it makes sense to at least take a gamble, right? Look at these guys in camp, see how they do in an NFL setting, and then whatever happens after that.
Carm's our quarterback guru.
Well, right. So, he transferred to Western Kentucky. I mean, Greg, you obviously know this. He came over from West Florida, which is the home.
He was a Saluki, too.
Yeah. The West Florida is the Argos. And Argo is a great movie. And this guy.
Argo is an okay movie.
Argo's a great movie. He was a Division II national champion, man, 2019. He threw for 4,089 yards, 40 touchdowns.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm with you, actually. Let's keep.
Hey. Well, there's going to be 2 quarterbacks throwing footballs this weekend. It's Caleb Williams and Austin Reed.
We all silly like the mayor.